Hey everybody, just going to shoot a little update on this end of my fish room. This is not going to be an around the world, but we are going to have a look at this end of the fish room. I know a lot of you are aware that I am trying to get this end of the fish room broken down. I've got 3 tanks down here. I have this brackish tank, I have this open top tank. We'll have a look at that in a moment, a little bit closer. And underneath my brackish tank I have an easily movable 10-gallon quarantine tank. So what I'm trying to do right now is get a large tank that's going to completely fill this end of the room, and we're going to make it into a native tank. I'm hoping that'll be a big draw to the channel. I've said before I want to do it for the channel. That not only means for my current viewers, but I also want it to be a draw for new viewers. I want it to be good for the channel in general. So I do have a GoFundMe page out there. I've gotten some support from some of my viewers. It's greatly appreciated. I've actually been able to take the first step in moving towards getting the tank. And what I've done is I've gotten the filter. I got a deal on this, so I grabbed it while I could. This is the new Sunsun 404B. It is the upgraded version to the 304B. It's basically the same, but I believe it's got a little bit larger capacity and maybe even a few other bells and whistles. So we'll do a video on that in the very near future. But first I need to get a tank to go with it, and I'm hoping I will have enough come Black Friday to do that. If I do, by next week this time, we will be looking at a whole different end of the room here. Again, I'm just sort of hoping something pans out on Black Friday. I don't have anything set in stone that I know of. So we're going to cross our fingers on that. If I do get a really good deal on Black Friday, we'll have the tank by next week. If not, we're going to have to keep saving and hope we can get something in the very near future. So what that brings me to is I'm beginning to break down this end of the fish room. This tank will be fairly easy, so let's start talking about this one for a moment. It's probably going to be one of the last few videos we see of it. For one thing, I would like to show you what Water Sprite looks like when it's grown in an open top tank and it doesn't have a hood pressing down on it. It's actually a very beautiful plant. It grows up and out of the water, so if you have an open top tank and you like a plant that is beautiful, you can certainly consider this floating Water Sprite. Now in this tank I've got that green slime cyanobacteria, and that's why everything is covered in green. That's not algae, that is actually bacteria. I've got so much bacteria growing all over the filter intake. You can see I've barely got a trickle of water coming out of the filter anymore. So this tank being broken down is not going to break my heart either. It is a really pretty tank. I really do enjoy it. But I've had it for several years now, and again, I just want to sort of consolidate this end of the room. So the fish in here are going to be easily moved. I've got neon tetras that can go pretty much anywhere. I've got glow light tetras that can go pretty much anywhere. And then I've got those 2 angelfish. Now, I know angelfish in a 10-gallon tank sounds odd, but this tank is no taller than a 10-gallon tank, and that's where your concern with an angelfish is. You don't want their fins dragging the ground. These 2 have done fine in this tank forever, and I've just never had an issue with them. They're not fish that need to swim around a lot, like lengthwise. So as long as they're not going to be damaging their fins on the bottom, I think a 10-gallon tank would be fine. Imagine this tank cut 1/3 off down where the filter is, and that's basically what a 10-gallon tank would be. And it's suddenly not very difficult to visualize these 2 in the 10-gallon tank. So that's probably where they're going to go. If it works out that that's too cramped for them, I do have other options. It would just be a little more inconvenient, so we're going to try the 10-gallon and see where we go from there. I also have 3 chocolate zebra plecos in there. They're not technically plecos, they're technically ancestral species. They are probably going to go in my 125 with my other little ancestral species I have in there, and they're going to be part of a very sort of hidden kind of cleaning crew in there for me. So that's about what's going to happen with this one. That won't be difficult to do any of that. I can kind of break this tank down while I'm sorting fish out. I can remove rocks and plants and then, catch fish while I'm in the process of doing it. Anybody that's ever caught angelfish before knows that that's about as hard as falling off a cliff, so that won't be difficult. And then once I get all the rocks and everything out of there, nobody else will be difficult either. The challenge, I think, is going to be getting this tank broken down, because I got 2 challenges. One, I don't want to bring any of that red slime cyanobacteria back in there. Now, if you'll remember, I just treated this tank very recently. I did a double dose I guess it's been, what, 3 weeks maybe? Something like that. Look how thick this cyanobacteria has grown back in. Let's start with right here on the surface. I threw this plant in there, and it gave it an anchor point, and it allowed it to start growing on the surface. It looks like a damn swamp monster, something out of the old, if anybody remembers the old Godzilla movies, a smog monster. Yeah, it's about what it looked like. It's disgusting. So when we look inside the tank, it's not a lot better looking. The whole bottom is covered in sheets of it again. It's actually begun peeling up in places. The rocks are completely covered in sheets of it again. My filter intake's completely covered in it. It's getting bubbles underneath of it so that the bubbles are actually beginning to lift mats of it up again. This stuff just grows like mad in here. So I've got to get the fish out of there and into the new tank. Don't know why I'm having so much trouble focusing here today. There we go. So I got to get the fish out of there and into the new tank. We can come over here and have a look real quick at the new tank. I still have the overhead light on, but that's okay. This is my brackish tank to be. It's already brackish water. It's ready to go. All I got to do is get the fish in it. So I'm just kind of waiting until I'm in the mood to start breaking that tank down. But that's all we're doing right now. That's where we are. We're just waiting for me to feel like doing it. And you know how that goes. At least you do if you're a regular viewer. That could be this afternoon. It could be next week. I just don't know. I'm not really ready yet. But I'm getting close. I'm really thinking about it. So what I think I'm going to do in this tank to prevent transferring any of that bacteria is I'm going to treat it as though it's already got the bacteria in there. I've got some of the Ultra Life Red Slime Stain Remover. I'm going to put a dose of that in there with the Airstone, and I'm going to treat it as though it's already infected. Once I've got it treating, I will go ahead and move the fish. I'll do my best to separate them out of the water, so I bring as little of this water with me as possible. But inevitably, I mean, honestly, if the fish is wet, he's going to bring some of the bacteria with him in this tank. It's just that there's so much of it in there at this point. Because remember, I'm not going to be able to magically dip him out of there. For one, he's a puffer, so he needs to stay in water. I need to be able to scoop him out in some sort of container. I cannot net him. So I'm going to scoop water from the tank out. He's also going to panic, and it's going to have to be after I've drained some of the tank. I'm probably going to have to remove some of those rocks to be able to get to him. I'm going to disturb that tank a lot in the process of trying to get him out of there, and therefore a lot of that bacteria is going to be waterborne, and there's just no way around the idea of me getting this puffer out of here without pulling some of that bacteria with it. And so I think that the best way forward is to do my best to separate it, to do my best to get him in some fresh water. I might give him a freshwater bath. I might give him a saltwater bath. Although I think a freshwater bath would probably be better for the bacteria, to kill the bacteria off. And then I'm going to go ahead and transfer him. And I think if I'm already treating the tank, I think I'll be okay. That tank's already got the UV filter on it. So any waterborne bacteria should get killed by the filter or the treatment. And then I should be done. So that's where we stand right now. Again, I am still trying to raise some money to get this big tank put in here. I am hoping for some good luck on Black Friday, but that's no guarantee. I will put a link to the GoFundMe page below. If you want to contribute, that would be great. It'd be very helpful. I have had some people contribute already, and again, I'm well on my way there. I've got enough to already get the filter, and I'm close to having enough. If I do have enough, it'll be on Black Friday. If not, again, we'll have to just wait and see where we go from there. So any help would be appreciated, including subscribing to my channel, liking, sharing, etc. All that stuff really does help. I know it seems trivial to say that, but all the comments, all the likes, all of that actually is good for traffic. It helps get my videos out there, and all of that support helps me out all the way around. So I appreciate all of it. So thanks for watching this one. Again, please subscribe if you're not already. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you real soon on the next one.